Welcome back to another video, man. I want to preface this video with I'm shooting off the cuff again and just recording my thoughts. So let's hit this bad boy with kapow, the profanity warning. And this may be a longer video, so let's get after it. You know, choosing who to play is probably the hardest choice for me when it comes to character building in both video games and tabletop D&D. Today I'm going to try and cover the character creation process for Baldur's Gate 3 to maybe help someone who may feel a bit lost when it comes to crafting a hero and, what they want to play. There are 7 origin heroes. I'm only going to cover a brief introduction to these heroes, and I'll cover them each in detail in later videos. There is an introduction video for each of them, but I want to keep the story stuff, as spoiler-free as possible for now. Astarion is a male high elf vampire spawn rogue. After 200 years of serving a cruel master, the vampire spawn Astarion is finally free. He's free to walk the sun, free to chase power, and free to take revenge. Lae'zel is a female Githyanki fighter. Lae'zel was raised ready for a life amongst the stars, mercilessly conquering the cosmos as a Githyanki soldier. Grounded, she must deal with the world she doesn't understand and find a way to serve her people in a plane that despises her militant kin. Gale is a human male wizard. Gale's wizarding prowess once earned him the love of Mystra, the goddess of magic, until his ambition led him to the brink of catastrophe. Shadowheart is a female half-elf cleric. Shadowheart willingly undertook a ritual to remove her memories in order to protect the secret of her fellow Shar worshippers. Loss and pain are sacred to her, but her faith is now being tested like never before. Will is a human male warlock. Known as the Blade of Frontiers, Will uses his magic to fell the monsters and devils menacing the Sword Coast. In a moment of desperation, he accepted an offer of greater power, forcing him into an infernal game that he is struggling to play. Karlach is a female tiefling barbarian. Karlach has escaped 10 years of service in the Hells with nothing but the axe on her back and the infernal engine blazing furiously where her heart used to be. The Dark Urge, while the appearance and the class can be fully customized to your playstyle, but you remember nothing but a path paved with blood. Unimaginable cruelty whispers to you from within. Can you escape it? Would you even want to? And finally, the custom origin. This is not tied to any pre-written backstory and offers you the option to create whatever hero best suits your fancy. This is the origin we're going to be taking a peek at today. For starters, there is a randomize button that can be used to just churn out a hero's appearance, race, class, and background choice. And a back button for you to flip through the randomized heroes if you just want to dive into the game blind. This could make for a pretty fun multiplayer playthrough. Everybody make a rando, or a stream challenge if you're a fellow content creator. The right-hand side panel houses the character overview, offering the short and sweet of your hero's creation. The left-hand tabs allow you to customize your race, subrace, class, background, and ability scores. The bottom right corner offers turn and zoom tabs, a randomize appearance button, and the chosen body type of your hero. From gender to muscle structure, basically average body or Giga Chad for the CrossFit fantasy boys and girls. After selecting a custom origin, the first choice is what race is your hero. Again, I'll cover them all briefly, as well as showcase some appearance possibilities for both genders and each subrace. The Elf. With ethereal countenances and a long lifespan, elves are at home with nature's power, flourishing in light and dark alike. There are 2 available subraces for the Elf. High elves are traditionally magic in one hand, witty quip in the other, I'm the smartest dude in the room kind of characters. They tend to be lofty and look at the big picture compared to other races that they may consider short-sighted. These guys make both awesome fighter types and magic users. High elves gain a cantrip from the wizard or sorcerer spell list that grows in power as you gain levels regardless of your class. And the spellcasting ability also changes depending on the class of your hero. For example, a high elf cleric will use their wisdom for their cantrip spellcasting ability, and a wizard will use their intelligence. Just know that regardless of what class you choose, the cantrip will get stronger as you level up. Wood elves are typically your Legolas, archer, sneaky forest boys. If tattooed and arrows are your thing with a mindset of keep off the grass, the wood elf makes for a fantastic rogue, rangers, and assassins, as well as druids and clerics. Wood elves have more movement than the other starting races, except for the half wood elf because, duh, you inherited your mom's hips and you're proficient in stealth regardless of class. Elves are just a staple fantasy race, man. Longevity, beauty, and badass. Whether you like magic, melee, healing, or just want to fill people with arrows, the elves are a solid choice. We're going to move to the drow for some semblance of flow here because they are also elves. The Drow were driven to the Underdark. Most Drow have adopted a ruthless pragmatism. While the Low-Sworn delight in their goddess's evil tenets, the Seldarine reject her attempt to overthrow the leaders of the Elven Pantheon. Now, the Drow have two quote-unquote subraces, but it's more of an ideology or morality choice. Low-Sworn typically lean into their cruelty and the subjugation of what they consider lesser races. Spoiler alert, that's anyone who isn't a Drow. The Seldarine Drow rebel against the teachings of the goddess Lothe and want to undo her wicked shenanigans by any means necessary. Again, this is a morality compass, and depending on how you want your Drow hero to quack, it's more story and dialogue driven, because statistically, they're identical. All Drow also gain racial magic as they gain levels. I'm not going to get into detail, but they have access to sneaky magic stuff as you level up, the same as the Half-Drow, because you have special powers too, little wannabe drits. The Drow are the masters of deception and guile. These guys are the most fan-beloved race in D&D. They can excel at any class and can be anything from a range of the wholesome ranger to the backstabbing little asshole to the smug, cruel wizard of terrible power. The Drow typically are feared or hated by other races, so I think they'll make for a pretty fun playthrough if any of the stuff I've said gives you nerd goosebumps. Okay, the Tiefling. These guys are descended from the devils of the Nine Hells. Most races are suspicious of them in Faerun, but their arcane abilities make them natural survivors. Same as the Drow, they gain some spooky devil magic as you level up, and they look like that Sylvan dude Geralt tackled in Season 1 of The Witcher.
What happened with you motherfucker goat?
I'm just kidding, they look amazing. Traditionally, these guys make famous warlocks, sorcerers, bards, and even paladins. There are 3 subraces of Tiefling, each is tied to a different Duke or Duchess of Hell that offers some inherent cantrips. Okay, let's take a peek at their customization options, and just for fun, see how many stupid things I can say about the Tiefling in the next 20 seconds.
No one understands me. You're not my dad. I can drive myself to school, Dad. It's my credit card, what does it matter? But Dad, he drives a motorcycle. Why can't I shave my head? I'm a warlock.
Okay, this is getting out of hand. Let's move on. Humans in Baldur's Gate 3 are human and can do human stuff. If you don't know what I'm getting at, please log off the internet and call your mom. Seriously though, from a system perspective, all humans are proficient with polearms, light armor, and shields. They also gain an additional skill proficiency of your choosing. Githyanki have no subraces and are the travelers of the astral seas. They are bred from the ruthlessness that stems from their enslavement to the mind flayers, whom are their sworn enemy. Traditionally, they wield silver greatswords and ride red dragons into combat and have a knack for psionic magic to combat the Illithid menace. The Gith are able to use their astral knowledge ability once per day to become proficient in a skill of your choice. They also gain brain drain magic powers as you level up and are proficient in the use of greatswords and both light and medium armor regardless of your class. The Githyanki are just a cool race, and I'm glad to see them in Baldur's Gate 3 because at the D&D table, they're usually just used as bad guys from the astral plane. They have a distinct appearance and are always lithe and skinny with no option to have Giga Chad muscles. But don't let that stop you from maxing out your strength score and bonking bad guys into oblivion. Dwarves are as durable and unyielding as their homes of stone. These stout little guys and gals make excellent fighter types and clerics. Resistant to poison, able to see in the dark, and proficient in tools to go a-bonking. The dwarves are a solid choice for any adventurous road. The dwarf is another fantasy foundation race, and Baldur's Gate 3 has offered us 3 subraces to choose from. Gold dwarves are similar to the dwarves of Moria, you know, the Lord of the Rings dwarves. They value family and fine craftsmanship. These hardy little guys gain additional hit points, which, to be honest, is good for every class in the game because, you know, he hit me and I'm still alive reasons. The shield dwarf got their ass handed to them by the goblins and the orcs, losing their ancestral home, and this has made them more akin to the 13 dwarves who retook Erebor from Smaug. All shield dwarves are proficient in light and medium armor because goblins have arrows, man! And finally, the Duergar. Once enslaved by the Eldritch Mind Flayers, they have since adapted to freedom with a harsh practicality. Just like the Drow, they have superior dark vision because they are also from the Underdark, and a resilience to illusions, charms, and paralysis, making them great companions for any witch hunt. I'm just saying, they'll get the job done. Ah crap, I messed up and I skipped the half-elves. Okay, half-elves have all the same shit that their parent elf has. Your dad's receding hairline, your mom's hips, but they look amazing. I mean, seriously, the half-elf is one of the best looking races in my humble opinion. Next up is the halfling. Small yet capable, halflings prefer the comforts of home and hearth. but their natural luck makes them fine adventurers. I mean, come on, Mount Doom, the Shire, speak friend and enter. When in doubt, Meriadoc, always follow your nose. I'm 40 years old, by the way. I know this isn't Lord of the Rings or Middle-earth, but there's just something special about playing a halfling. The heart of the party, the cook, the character who keeps an eye on his friend's emotional well-being, smokes a pipe and loves food. They're just a fantastic player race. The Lightfoot halflings are the spunky, stealthy halflings that have a love for travel and seek to make an adventurous name for themselves. They are proficient in stealth regardless of class, and a prime choice for any rogue, hero, or stealthy magic user. The Strongheart halflings are more traditionalist people with a love for fine food and ale. They are resistant to poison and can shine in almost any class role, and halflings are adorable, man. The gnomes. I just posted a video about these guys. You should check it out and hit the like button. Okay, I'll stop. Let's talk about them some more. Gnomes are small, clever, and energetic. Also possessed of longevity, they explore Faerun's brightest corners and darkest depths. All gnomes have advantage to saving throws that attack their intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, meaning they too can go on witch hunts. I'm not kidding. A gnome is a surefire way to shut that fucking enchanter up. 3 subraces are available to gnomes, and they are the rock gnomes, who are the history buffs and the inventors of the gnomes, the forest gnome, who is the wannabe wood elf who can speak with the animals, and the deep gnomes or Swerfneblin, who are way cooler than the other 2 and the masters of stealth, even more so than the Lightfoot halfling, although they are not automatically proficient in the stealth skill. But hey, all gnomes look pretty cool, and if you fancy a witty little guy or gal with a love of adventure or a desire to also be from the Underdark, gnomes can be a fun hero, man. The Dragonborn are a proud race that values clan and skill above all else. Once enslaved by dragons, they strive to be self-sufficient, not wanting to be beholden to anyone, not even the gods. The Dragonborn have 10 subraces available to them, holy crap. Based on the draconic ancestry that you choose, the color of dragon offers them a distinct breath weapon to vomit onto the bad guys, and a resistance to that flavor of vomit. These guys can fit into any role of hero, and offer great offensive attack with their breath weapon. If you like the idea of gallivanting around the Sword Coast as a glorified lizard man, or you absolutely have to know what happens when a Dragonborn comes, the Dragonborn will not disappoint, and just look at the appearance customization for them. Look at him! Damn it, they look awesome. The final available race is the half-orc. Creatures of intense emotion, they are more inclined to act than contemplate. Whether the rage burning within their bodies compels them to fight or lead them to incredible acts of kindness. Half-orcs are amazing frontline characters and hardy spellcasters. With eyes for the darker places of the world, a relentless endurance that keeps them fighting, and savage attacks which offers an additional damage dice when you critically hit in melee. The half-orc is a monster of a heroic character. Now that you've selected a race, I know they're all badass looking. You're now faced with the question, what class should I choose? Rest easy, friend, you're going to be able to respecialize your hero in-game if you feel like you made the wrong choice in character creation. Now, I'm going to cover each of the classes, but again, I'm going to try to be brief with each of them. Otherwise, this already long video is going to be stupid long. The Barbarian. You are mad and it helps you send bad guys to the Shadow Realm. Rage is the Barbarian's claim to fame, and it offers a resistance to physical damage and extra damage when you bonk a nerd. This class is great as a tank hero or bringing the big weapon to the fight. The Bard. Music and magic are one and the same to you, able to inspire your allies and emotionally scar your enemies. The Bard is damage, support, and healing all in one. Their primary ability is combat inspiration, which offers additional bonuses to their allies when shit hits the fan. The Cleric is based heavily on their chosen deity and domain. The Cleric can fill almost any role depending on their domain and god. From tank to healer or spell-slinging support, their faith and devotion makes them a fantastic addition to any adventuring group. Druids channel the force of nature and can shapeshift into animals depending on your chosen archetype at later levels will determine if you want to be better at being all things big and fuzzy or a more spellcaster-oriented druid. The Fighter masters the art of combat. Fighters can wield weapons with unmatched skill. In short, find a weapon, send bad guys to Jesus. They are capable of staying in the fight by restoring hit points with their second wind ability. The Monk, channelers of cosmic enlightenment. The Monk is an unarmed tornado of fist and foot. They have great versatility in combat and can approach any conflict from an assortment of deadly ways. This class focuses on self-perfection and becoming a living weapon. The Paladin. Fueled by an oath, the Paladin is a fantastic frontline hero. Armed with holy war levels of combat badassitude, the Paladin is a see evil, smite evil kind of hero. Unless you break your oath, then it's all
the power of the dark side.
The Ranger. These guys are master scouts and trackers, honing a deep connection with nature in order to hunt any prey. The Ranger comes equipped with both favored enemy and natural explorer, offering them versatility when deciding how you want your prey to suffer. The Rogue. Sneak, steal, and assassinate, baby. The Rogue is a prime candidate for any one-hitter-quitter build, and is very heavy in the skill department. Want to rob the Sword Coast blind? This is your guy. The Sorcerer, magic in the blood and zapping nerds from afar. The Sorcerer is an arcane hand cannon. If you like sending bad guys to the Shadow Realm as a pile of ash, the Sorcerer is a surefire way to do it. Their arcana varies depending on their chosen bloodline, but one thing they all have in common is magic go boom and brain go burr. The Warlock.
You're not my dad.
I can't help it. Similar to the Sorcerer in their ability to toss bad guys aside with an eldritch kaboom, the Warlock is also armed with invocations or dark gifts from their patron, allowing them to dip their toes into the dark and sinister of magic. The reading rainbow of magic users, the Wizard is the classic spellcaster. They're capable of area crowd control or single target zap to the face magic. The Wizard chooses a school of magic to focus on, and depending on that choice can directly affect how you send the bad man to the afterlife with your arcane jazz hands. After choosing what class best suits your adventuring needs, it's time to start trimming out your hero. For spellcasters, you'll be allowed to decide what spells you want to prepare or know, or fighting styles for the warrior boys, and some classes dive straight into selecting a background. Now, a hero's background offers 2 additional skills that your character receives proficiency in simply because of this selection, so be sure to mix and match a background that best suits the hero that you have envisioned. There are 11 backgrounds to choose from that can offer skill proficiencies that normally are not available to a class, such as a wizard being a criminal and now having proficiency in deception and stealth. From there, it's time for ability scores, and this can be somewhat confusing and overwhelming, especially for someone that's not familiar with the D&D 5e rule set. So be sure to hover over each ability to ensure that you're familiar with what the selected ability entails. If you're unsure and can't be bothered with all that reading, it's okay to use the Use Recommended button, and the game will auto-assign your ability scores for you depending on your class. Don't sweat this too much, guys. You can always respec your hero later if you fuck this up. This page also provides your hero's skill proficiencies. They're going to be auto-assigned by default, but you can change them to trim out the hero that you want to play. And finally, there are going to be a ton of best Giga builds for BG3 become overpowered right now videos on the rise. Never let someone else gatekeep your fun, man. If you want to build a Dragonborn Enchanter, Ranger, Monk, and you're having a blast, that's what's important. Okay guys, I know this was off the cuff and dirty, but I wanted to toss out a character creation video before I spend the rest of the night playing the game. But hey man, even though not a single person doubted you, you made it to the end of the video. And for that, thank you. Have a great adventure, guys. Goodbye. Look at them. This looks great. Except for this guy right here. He's having a bad day.
What are you talking about? He's doing professional yoga.
All right.
That's a nice stretch, man. Look at him stretch all those muscles.
All right. Let's. Oh, this guy. Oh my God! I didn't even see this guy. Big old symbol of ball, man. That looks badass.